Hello, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs, and thank you very much for stopping by today to see what I'm up to. And today I'm showing day 19 for Junk Journal January 2024, hosted by Meg's Journals. And I did the 19th, I did page or day 19 on the 19th. Today's the 20th. And I won't be working on my journal through the weekend. These pages are a little bit time consuming, so I'll start again on Monday, and then I'll have to catch up with 20, 21, and 22. But so anyway, here is day 19, and this prompt was interactive. And so what I decided to do for this was, I wasn't sure where to go with this. I knew we had to somehow be engaged with the page. And so what I decided to do, look, let me just fix my camera, I think is a little bit crooked, sorry. What I decided to do was to take two envelopes. These are just two random envelopes that I've gotten in the mail. Put them together like this, put one under the other. And my thought was to have like doors that would open. But what I did was I cut down my envelopes on each end of the envelope, the end. And then I also cut them down on the length so that they would be a little bit shorter. And I just put the whole envelope under the cutter and cut. I used my rotary cutter and ruler and cut them down in length so that they would be more to scale for this page. So that's what these two, that's what this is. This is two envelopes here put together. And in the background that I applied them to, this is just a cardstock with some French writing on this. And this is cardstock that I had left over from this page. And I just took those little cuts that I had, and I thought, oh, they'll be wonderful to use here. And I'm just noticing I didn't do any little edge on this bottom one. On this one and on this one. This one I inked all of these pieces with the cutouts. And then I went in with my brown pen and just drew little dots, little tiny dots to accentuate that edge. And on this one, I didn't ink the edge, but I did do the little brown dots. And I forgot to do it on the bottom, so I'll add that with my brown pen. I'm glad I noticed that. So that was kind of the two borders almost that kind of tied in with this page next to it. And as I'm going along, I'm kind of learning that it's interesting to tie the pages in together. And I also added this dragonfly. This was on a tissue paper that I had gotten. This woman that I've always bought wool from would always wrap the wool in tissue paper with just different beautiful designs. And this one had dragonflies. So I just ripped out a little dragonfly and glued that down. I included this little saying on here. This is from a Tim Holtz book, and it says, "He restoreth my soul." And I definitely feel that our soul is restored if you look at flowers, and I happen to love flowers and just other things in nature. But I included some flowers on here, and this little, let me see, I think I can just take this out and fold it up. Yes. This little flower up here was cut out of a card. Get rid of all that distraction. Cut out of a card that I got in the mail. And I think that's wisteria. And I just like the way that looks hanging down. And these, I think maybe geraniums or maybe mini petunias. But again, I thought that they were very pretty, and I just touched them up a little bit with my brown ink just to knock the color down a little. They were very bright. And here's another little portion of a flower that I cut from a card as well. So that was kind of the background for these little doors. I'm kind of considering them doors. And this string is just some Valdani thread for embroidery. And I just wrapped it around these fasteners that you get to fasten things with, whatever you're, sometimes for crafting, sometimes for business papers. But so I just poked those through the envelopes, the envelope top, and then I just put it, because you could see the fastener back here, I decided to use something sturdy. This is a paper that is lighter in weight, where this is nice and sturdy, the cardstock. So I thought that I would put a piece on each envelope flap, just to sort of camouflage, of course, cover up the little ends. And I had to clip the ends with a needle nose pliers because they were long. And so I glued that over to cover the little fasteners. And so here is one envelope, and I can show you by turning it. And I just decided that I would line this envelope with a cardstock that I had, again, flowers, thinking they're so beautiful. Kind of, this whole page seems to have a theme of flowers. And then this was a paper that I had photocopied from a book that I have, and I didn't want to cut up my book, so I just photocopied that, glued that on, and this also. And the body of the envelopes are done with just some inking with my blender brushes, the oxide inks, and a blue, I think it was patina blue, and a green, and some vintage photo, just to give it some kind of interest. So this is one envelope. And two of the things that I decided to put in there were this little piece, which I love hummingbirds when they come to visit my feeder, and I cut this off of a card. I had glued this paper to a few sheets of paper. This looks like it came from a math book. Yes, logarithm. Yes, it must be a math book. And oh my, I used to love to do logarithms. Love to do them. An engineer where I worked at environmental conservation, he and I would give each other logarithm problems. And it would take a whole page of computations to solve it. And I used to love the challenge. We would challenge each other. Now I don't think I could remember how to do it. I'm sure I don't remember. So I just glued this little piece of paper and this hummingbird on one, just for something interesting to look at in the envelope. And then I made this little tiny book with some leftover cardstock, and took some of this paper that I had folded in half, and for some pages, some little tiny pages to write on, and I stitched down the center of those, and I just left the threads hanging. This little tiny book reminds me of when our children would lose teeth. The tooth fairy would write them little notes, little tiny notes on little sheets of pieces of paper, very, very tiny writing, because she was tiny. And that's kind of what this book makes me think of. And now my daughters do the same thing with their children as well. So I love that. But so this is a little tiny book that you'll find in this pocket, and a hummingbird. And I love how this kind of peeks out and coordinates with this as well. And so this envelope just flaps over. And this is an image that I had. I don't know where I got this image, but I loved it. And so I just put it on the back of that envelope because it was white and stark, and I thought that that would be interesting to look at, something interesting. So these envelopes are back to back, and I just put some washi tape on here so that this would flip. And so this is the second envelope, and I'll just take these little images out of there and show you this one. And this one has that French writing that is also here on the background of the page, and that same flower paper is glued up here. And again, did the shading on the envelopes. And so in this little envelope pocket, I have an image of books because I love books, absolutely love them, and I love vintage books. I love going out and looking for vintage books, and when you find, you know, an author that you're looking for, it's just so much fun because generally they're a pretty good price on the vintage books. So I thought I would put that image in there. And this image of thread, it looks like a heavier cotton thread. And that image makes me think of my grandmother and something that she would have, whether it was for crocheting or whatever, repairing things. And I love that. And on the back, I just put some of that shaded paper that I was using, that I was fooling around with. And another image, buttons and a thimble and scissors, because I love sewing. And on the back of that one, I just put a vintage looking document on there. And then another image of a thimble, a water drop dropped on that, but I left it. I love this with the needle and the thimble. I never sew, whether it's appliquing, hemming, slow stitching. I never stitch without a thimble. I love them. Mine are sterling silver thimbles, and most of them I've gotten on eBay, and they are the most comfortable and beautiful and durable thimbles. And this one I just put an image from a card that I had gotten in the mail. So I thought it would be interesting to just have these little things to look at in here. This one being my favorite for some reason. I love that image. And so they just tuck right in here. And this little book image tucks in there too, so it's something interesting to see. And so this just flaps right back over, and then these close, they overlap each other, and hopefully they look like doors. That's what I was kind of going for. And to close, you just wrap the thread around, and there it is. So that was kind of a fun one, time consuming, but a fun one to do. So that goes with the other one, which was borders. And so that will go in my book like this. And just to show anyone new, this is the second signature of my book. And I liked this image to go, this coloration to go with these images here. And this is garden, pattern, opposites, and a little card, a little journaling card in there. This cardstock is from Alice in Wonderland, so it's so cute. And this was Flow, and Whimsical, and Borders, and then Interactive. And I think the next one is Nature, which I really haven't given a lot of thought to. I'll have to put on my thinking cap and think about what will look nice on a page. And I just want to say that when I was putting my my signatures, just piling them together to see if they would still fit in the what I had chosen originally for the cover. This was just a piece of Amazon packaging. You can see the styrofoam little bubbles or dots in this packaging, and I wasn't sure if they were getting so chubby that they wouldn't fit, but I have lots of room, so I think with the third and last signature I should be fine, because there's all all this room left over, so I mean, it could come over to here and then come way up. So I think this will be fine. I have no idea what I'll put on the cover, but I was happy to see that everything still will fit. I won't have to look for another cover. So that is my interactive offering for prompt or day 19. And thank you again for joining me today. And I'm wishing you many blessings, and I'll see you in the next video when I can talk a little bit better. Thank you. Bye for now.